I'm down a subscriber. Lovely. You want to know fun fact? Sure. What you got? Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Boom. I really like the overhaul for the Discord. I've been working on it for a few days. The Discord server just turned 8, rolled into its 7th anniversary. Hard to believe that she's been around for that long. It's been a mixed bag for me. The Discord was really popping about 5 years ago. And we had a numbskull that kind of ruined it for everybody. But it's okay. We don't want to harp on this. Right, today I'm going to make the chat box a little bigger for people who might be watching on mobile. What was one of the other things I wanted to do today that I was going to do live? I was going to change some of my assets, like my face cam menus and stuff. I will wait and do that later. But today, we have washing to do. I found out you're not supposed to do voices anymore. I was watching a YouTube video last night, and apparently it's not PC to do silly voices anymore. I'm not allowed to emulate the voices of other nationalities. I cannot do Japanese voice anymore. I cannot do voices anymore. Fuck all the way off. I am so... Fuck all the way off. Okay. The bear learned bad habits like beer and cigarettes. I kind of want to see that. I'd watch a documentary of that. How well they enlisted him into the army and helped by carrying. They put him to work, huh? He's just one of the boys. I'd be down for that. I just woke up and immediately went to stream, so I'm a little drowsy. Woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't get back to sleep. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Boogie the precious kitty. Ow. You get to be so cute. Hey, Bubbles. Oh, it's Bubbles. You guys, I don't want to spiral on stream, but I am devastated. I am gutted at the loss of my dog. I'm so bad. Okay. Let's get started on an actual job. Oh yeah, we were working the gas station. Did I not finish that? They had to put him in a zoo in Scotland because he's a bear. They would wrestle with him too. Slow down. I can't believe we saw another human being. That tripped me up the other day. It tripped me up now. You know, if we go on YouTube and look, there might be a documentary about that bear. Hell, I don't know. Might be worth looking. Let me take my watch off. This is wearing a watch and then trying to do like keyboard, is mouse and keyboard can be a little. Okay, so we need to switch. That's what I'm looking for right there. Want the big one. So the plan today is to do multiple streams, you guys. I'm going to do some PowerWash Simulator. Then I'm going to do some Pokopia. And I might even get so brave as to come back tonight and do more Pokemon Ultra Sun. We gotta start cranking these out. I gotta bury myself in my work to defeat the ultimate sad. It does look like that, doesn't it? I would play a metal detector game. I bet you there's one on Steam if I go look. A metal detector game would probably be kind of fun. Yeah, it's they put us under an extreme heat warning today. It's supposed to be like 113, 114 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 45 degrees Celsius for you know, Celsius people. And I got the front and the back lawn mowed over the weekend, and I'm so glad that I did, because it's been hot, but it's not been like extreme heat warning hot up until now. I would love to take a metal detector IRL and go look for stuff. I bet that's a fun hobby. You ever seen those videos of people on YouTube who'll throw like a big magnet into a river or a creek or a pond or something? Those are really fun watches. If you guys haven't ever seen those videos on YouTube, go check them out. They find really neat stuff. They find a lot of guns. I think bicycles might be the most found thing. Ooh, they do it in Europe too, like downtown London. And then Venice is another one that's big on like finding stuff in the water. Those can be really satisfying watches. But yeah, I didn't even think of that. I should, like lately I've been watching cleaning videos on YouTube, and I've been watching destruction videos, like people who like demolish old condemned homes and structures and stuff. They go in with the big machinery and just tear it down. I started watching people mow lawns, but that kind of got that was a little too boring. I could watch it, but I guess the channel I watched didn't make it interesting enough. I'm in my old man era where I'm watching documentaries. There's a TV show that I've been watching hosted by David Duchovny, called Secrets Declassified. That's really good too. It just tells about fun things that various militaries around the world, like it talks about the tech they built, spy stuff. It's very interesting. But I've gone full old man watching watching unhinged stuff on YouTube. On a World War II rocket. Oh my God. Years ago, one of my neighbors found a World War II grenade in their yard. Which I don't understand, because my neighborhood was built in the late 70s, early 80s. And prior to my neighborhood being built, it had just been woods, like forested tree areas forever, like since America's existed. There's never been any structures. There's never been any people living here. So I don't know how a grenade got there. I will say, though, there is a decommissioned military base, I don't know, less than a mile from my house, that I think has been decommissioned since maybe the 50s. It's just been sitting there. It was like an ammunition bunker. It's really cool. The bunkers are still there. They're built into the ground, and you can walk in, and it's all echoey. They turned it into an ATV park. So the general public is allowed to go out there now with their four-wheelers and ATVs and just wreck up the place. So doing a vlog out there wouldn't be worth it. I think you also have to pay to get in, and I'm not doing that. It was free to get in my whole life. I'm not paying to get in now. They ruined it. They ruined the charm of the place. But, you watch the... Oh, I guess you didn't see my message. I started to watch that documentary, and he opened by using the F slur, and to me, that's like when you use the F slur, that's like a stab to the heart. I take that shit extremely personal, and I didn't want to watch a whole documentary about I already wasn't exactly hyped about watching another documentary about yet another pedophile, but I was going to watch it because everybody's talking about him lately. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know who he is, and anytime I watch stuff on YouTube about pedophiles, it makes my stomach hurt. Just, they make me so uncomfortable, and I hate them so much that I'd rather just not pay attention. And I was thinking about that yesterday too. Like, we live in like the Trump Epstein era of history, and I can't anymore. I can't handle this anymore. I feel like there's no justice in the world. I feel like none of these people will ever see a day in jail for their crimes. And let's face it, it's like one of the most heinous crimes that you could ever, do. I don't know. I'm not mentally well right now, so it's probably not a good idea for me to like get angered at a YouTube video either. I'm in my crazy place, and maybe if you recommend it in a few months, I might go back and try to watch it, but right now I just can't. I can't deal with it. Soccer ball. I will say we live in a very depressing era for children. I was thinking about this the other day. I went to McDonald's to get myself a tea, and I thought, this building is horrible and unpleasant. What happened to all of the fun building architecture? Like, McDonald's used to be a fun little place. It had playgrounds and shit. Now it's this very modern gray square building with no playground and no soul. It's very sterile and ugly, and Every time I've been into McDonald's for the past few years, it's run by like a bunch of teenagers. The place is always filthy. There's like paper and debris all over the floor. The trash cans are running over. The drink fountain areas are always corroded and unclean. At least my McDonald's is. My McDonald's is fucking awful. And then let me be an old man for a moment because I had this experience fucking yesterday, and it's happening to me every time I go to McDonald's lately. I don't even eat fast food. I don't even get food from there. I literally just want a fountain drink. I either want a tea or I want a Diet Dr. Pepper because fountain drinks taste different than just buying a soda like in a bottle or a can. And it's like self-fulfilling prophecy every time I pull into the parking lot because the parking lot's full, the drive-thru's backed up. I can never go to the drive-thru anymore. They're so slow to fill orders that you can't do anything but go in. And when you go in, there's people standing around waiting on their order because they're taking their sweet time. So that's already your second annoyance of being at the place. And you walk up to the counter and there's nobody there. They're all huddled around the fry machine in the back, and they're all huddled around trying to fill the orders and get them out in the drive-thru because the drive-thru has timers and cameras and shit that, rate their performance. When one of the employees finally does crawl back up to the front, they're like, "Hey, are you using our app today?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I walked in." You usually only get asked that when you go through the drive-thru, which is also annoying because every time you go to the drive-thru, they don't ask you to place an order. They ask you if you're using the stupid app. No, I'm not using the stupid app. I was born in a year with a 19 in front of it. I'm not using your stupid app. I just want to place my order. So after they ask me if I'm going to use the app and I say no, they're like, "Okay, well, are you here to pick up Uber Eats?" And then I have to stand there and sigh the biggest sigh of frustration and say no. Again, I was born with a 1 and a 9 in the year of my birth. I don't Uber Eats and shit, even based on principle. I'm not paying $24 for you to deliver a $5 hamburger to my house. That's fucking stupid. You're stupid if you use Uber Eats. You're an absolute asshole and I hate you. And then when they finally ask me what I want, can they take my order? They don't ask in the nice, polite way that they used to ask in the 90s or the 2000s. "Hi, welcome to McDonald's," with a smile on my face. "May I take your order, please?" And it's not like, "What you want?" It's always just so deadpan and dead. Like, "What you want? What can I get you?" And it's the attitude, the frustration of being there. You could tell they're dead and soulless. And then I tell them that I just want a drink, and they're like, "Is that all? Is that all you want?" And I'm like, "Well, you could lose the attitude. I just want my drink. I wasn't rude to you." Then it takes 5 minutes for the card reader to read my card because I don't use cash because it's the future. And when they finally give me my cup, like, "You want your receipt?" I'm like, "No, thank you." And I politely walk away, even though they were rude to me every single time. Then I walk over to the fountain machine, which is corroded. There's straw papers laying everywhere. The trash can beside the machine is running over, and it's the trash cans under the counter. So the trash is running out over onto the counter. There's just sticky and stains everywhere. The machine is dripping from the nozzle. It doesn't look sanitary. It probably hasn't been cleaned in months, if cleaned at all this year. It is an unmitigated nightmare going into that place. It makes me not want to go in public anywhere. And that's been my experience now. For you young people who've only been alive since the year 2000 forward, the world today is a vastly different place than it was in my childhood. In my childhood, everybody forced a smile and forced politeness at their jobs. Walmart employees didn't hate you or sound so dead when you asked them where an item was and what department. You went into a fast food place, you were greeted with dead, soulless eyes, but you had a fake smile on your face. People used to at least fake it. Nowadays, anytime I leave the house, it is a nightmare having to interact with the general public, and I fucking hate it. Speed run rant. Yeah, see, in my head when I first started, I did it on purpose. I thought this will be funny. Take no breaths, do it all in one go. It'll be funny. So part of that was real and part of that was just to be funny. So don't don't worry, guys. But I meant every damn word of it. It's like I just wanted my goddamn drink. Do I look like I'm here for fucking Uber Eats, you son of a bitch? Yeah, Uber Eats. When I was a child, when I was in my 20s, I always was so confused about why old people were so fucking miserable all the time. I get it. I now understand why old people are miserable. It's because they grew up in a world that stopped existing somewhere in their 30s and 40s. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. It sucks. Oh my God, you guys, it sucks. Ooh. I just want him a drink. And like I'm that kind of person too. Like if I go into a public place and I place a food order or something and you get it wrong, I don't make a stink out of it. I usually don't even go up and say, hey, my order's wrong, can you fix it? A lot of times I'll just suck it up and eat it because I'm too like nervous around people and strangers and stuff, and I just don't want to make a fuss. I don't want to be an inconvenience. You know, I try to just suck it up and take it. Meanwhile, there'll be some lady standing at the counter throwing shit over the counter and making a scene, and I'm like, how embarrassing for you. Like a toddler in public? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Right, this is gonna be annoying. Because we have like these little paint splotches that are not coming off. So if I change the nozzle to soap, that might. It feels like I'm spraying marshmallow everywhere. Kind of looks more like I'm just spraying. Coating everything with sticky ass, wet ass marshmallow. I love the bubbly noises. Okay. Let's blast it. Are we open for business, and do we have a gravel pit to slow down out of control vehicles fast approaching your yard? Oh no! Somebody about to wreck into my building. Somebody's about to roll into my building. I said that's the thing too. Like, imagine, like you said, imagine me just going through all of that trying to order a drink. Imagine what it must be like working there. I can't. I couldn't. That shit's way too fast paced and chaotic. It's too thankless of a job. I can't do it. Maybe when I was younger, I probably could have kept up with it, but I couldn't keep up with that now. I don't even know what fast food places pay anymore. Do they, like, did they even increase their pay? Like in our post-COVID world where like the world economy's gone to shit? Like, do you even get fairly compensated for working that thankless ass, dead ass job? I don't know. I can't imagine working there if not. Of course, there is still the, you know, you do what you got to do sentiment, but still, you know. Yeah, let me hit. Switch over to, here we go. Start spraying it all down. Whoops. It is odd that a gas station has a play place. And it makes me wonder, though, you know, did somebody at McDonald's say we're gonna change things up, we're gonna get rid of the play place element, we're gonna get rid of the child element, we're going to try and focus purely on like looking professional and looking modern, and did the rest just follow suit? Like whatever McDonald's does, do the rest just kind of do the same thing because, you know, free market and trying to keep up with your competitors? I wonder about that, you know. What soulless son of a bitch at corporate thought that, you know, all of these weird square gray dead soulless buildings was a good idea? And it's funny because like everybody's talking about it now too, because it doesn't stop with fast food and it doesn't stop with McDonald's. Every building in public in the past decade has been overhauled, torn down, stripped, rebuilt. And they're not building fun architect buildings anymore. They're building stuff cheap, quick. Just getting a building up there and getting it open for business seems to be all anybody cares about. We don't have Art Deco anymore. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I try not to be a miserable piece of shit, but it's kind of hard to do. Reality fucking sucks. Uh-oh. Like the Whataburger building, the triangle. I still have never been to Whataburger. I need to try them. We don't have one around here, so I'd have to like drive out of town and find one. But I want to. Hang on a minute. Here comes the fun part of this. It's time to start getting the details on this thing. I had never eaten at a Five Guys until like the 20 teens. I think I vlogged that too. Also, I need to get back to trying to, do they even have Whataburger? I think there's one like 45 minutes away from me, I think. Actually, there may be one in Oxford, which is like 20 minutes north of here. Maybe. I'd have to look on Google. The funny thing is I doxed myself within like 2 or 3 years of being on YouTube. Like when I first started vlogging, I tried not to show my house, my street, my neighborhood, or anything like that. But I would vlog from the car, and then my dumbass would like vlog on the drive home, which gave you, you know, exact directions how to get to me. So I ended up doxing myself years ago. Although I'm not, nobody knows I exist as a YouTuber. And then two, I've always maintained like, we have dogs and guns. And I'm like, I'm not, you know, while I'm not like a redneck, you know, like trailer park, mullet, drinking, Trump voting redneck, we do still have guns and we do still have dogs. And if you show up to my house unannounced because you're some sort of creep that figured out where I live thanks to my vlogs, you're going to be met with dogs and guns. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. It is still America. And I don't know you, randos showing up at my house. That's creepy behavior. I am going to pull a gun on you. Well, I wouldn't recommend it. I remember when I was a kid in school, the school I went to had like 2 or 3 different playgrounds. One on this side of the building, one on this side of the building, then one on this side of the building. And they were all in descending ages. One was probably built in the 50s, another one was probably built in the 70s. And then the one that we played on the most had like just been built a few years before I started there, if not had been built when I first started there. And the funny thing is, we played on different playgrounds depending on what year it was and what class I was in, because that's it. The way the building was laid out, it was one of those buildings where it was almost rectangle more than square. So you had a long hallway filled with classes on either side. Then the building wrapped around itself at a 90-degree angle, and then you had classes. So it was a long walk from one end of the building to the other. So depending on what class you were in and what part of the building you were in, that kind of dictated what playground you played on that year. And the 1950s playground had this slide that was entirely too big for children. It was stupid. It was it should not have been as high. It was very dangerous. I would say that thing was probably a good 10 feet into the air. If I'm 6'4" and I went out there today, it would still be like way up above my head. I don't know that I could even reach up and touch it from standing on the ground. So it may have been even higher than 10 feet in the air. Why do tiny little grade school children need a fucking slide that's 10 feet plus in the air? Granted, I know they didn't really give a shit about safety back in the day, but still, that seems excessive. Seems very excessive. And that slide is still there to this day. Still there. You guys, we are still only at 62% of this job. Jesus Christ. Gross. Nitpicking. No, it's not about nitpicking. Like it was fun, but it was also one of those metal slides that baked in the sun, so it would rip the flesh off your legs when you went down it. But so many kids fell off that thing and got hurt, and nobody stepped in and said maybe we decommission this and put in a normal slide. I guess that's kind of the point of that story. My bad. We had fun with the slide. It's just it wasn't exactly the safest thing in the world. Like I'm looking back at it with some hindsight. Like as a kid, you're like, oh, fun. Slide that feels like it's sky high because you're a child. But looking back, it probably wasn't a good idea. You know what I mean? Oh my God, look how much dirt I left behind. Okay, gotta find every little speck that I missed. Okay. Tiffany was telling me the other day, Roger, their oldest cat, they've had him now for about 13 years. So they got Roger when Tiffany's daughter was like 3 years old, and she's 16 now. So when Roger goes, that family is going to be devastated. She was telling Tyler, she's like, oh yeah, you better be prepared for my shit, my bullshit when that cat died. That was funny. They came down, they had a wedding Saturday, and they came down and they brought me flowers. It was lovely. It made me feel much better. I've never been given flowers before in my life. It was like so unexpected. It was nice. And like I can hear people now saying, Jesus, it was just your dog that died. It wasn't a human. No, you don't understand. First of all, you don't know me very well if you think that, because I value animals 10 times more than I value any humans. Hell, even my own family. And yeah, we had two boxers, and we had to, we lost one a couple of years ago due to just he got old. He had reached the end of his life expectancy, and he passed. And we were sad, but I wasn't devastated and gutted. When Lizzie passed, I was devastated and gutted. Roger, the white one. No, that's Artemis. Artemis is the white one. Roger is their eldest cat. He's kind of like the alpha of the house. And it's funny because Tyler and Tiffany have always told me that Roger has to warm up to you. He hisses and tries to bite any strangers that come to the house, or even just visitors that have been there before. Roger doesn't let anybody but them pet him. He doesn't want anything to do with you. First time I ever visited their house, Roger come up to me. He gave me a sniff, and then he nudged me and wanted me to pet him. Tyler and Tiffany were floored. They could not get over the fact that Roger cuddled up to me, something he's never done ever. And I have that rapport with animals. I don't want to sound like Mr. Doolittle or Dr. Doolittle, but animals can tell. And I don't mean to sound, up my own ass or whatever, but animals can fucking tell if you have a good soul or not. They can tell if you're evil. And I've always had a very good relationship with animals. Animals usually let me get closer than anybody else I know. Like wild animals will let me get fairly close before they fuck off. Animals know, man. But no, like Lizzie, And I was telling them it probably wouldn't have been so bad, but it was like sudden. Like I went to bed that night, you know. I, I went to bed and then my dad came in and woke me up the next morning and it's like, I need your help. We got a situation. And that's how you start your day. You know what I mean? So it was rough. It was a little rough. Maybe that's why animals walk up to you. Yeah. Animals will know. And I mean that's, and here's the thing too, like it's not a perfect rule. It's not 100% of the time. You can have a monster that owns a pet and the pet doesn't know. Like a serial killer can probably have a cat or a dog and the cat and dog is probably none the wiser. So I'm not saying it's a perfect like rule of the universe, but as a typical general rule of the universe, most animals have a sixth sense for like being able to tell whether a person's a monster or not. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not about to try and buddy and cozy up to wasps and scorpions and stuff. They're on their own. I will say that life feels different now. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes in life, when you lose like a partner or a family member, or just when you lose somebody in general, it can fundamentally rewire your brain chemistry and turn you into a different, completely person. I think I butchered that sentence. It sounded weird in my head. What I say? It can turn you into a completely different person. And I feel different now. The world feels different now. Because that dog was more human than any human I know. And here's the thing, and I'm hesitant to say this publicly because I don't want to. Well, you know, I don't give a fuck if it pisses somebody off. I'm over it. Like I have three friends left in my life. I have Tyler and Tiffany, and I have Lewis. Now Lewis and I are separated by thousands of miles over two continents. I'm in North America. He's in South America, and we have a language barrier, so we pretty much only talk through like text, you know, and Discord, and then he watches the streams. But you know what? Lewis is a damn fine person. He's always done right by me. And so has Tyler and Tiffany. They've never done me dirty. They've never done me wrong. They've only ever had my best interest at heart. These are good people, which is more than I can say for any of the other people that I've ever known in my life. And my dad and I were just talking about this a day or two ago, you know. We were kind of reminiscing about all the friends that I've had over the course of like my 30s and my 40s, and how a lot of people just kind of want stuff. It's all about what they can get out of you, you know. I need this favor, I need that favor. It's never like, hey man, how you doing? Are you doing okay? I know you have a lot of mental health issues all the time, and you know, I just wanted to check in. It's like, no, these people don't give a fuck. They don't. They really don't. So I'm kind of down to just those three people in my life, and it's the only three people I care to have in my life right now. Everybody else can kind of fuck right off. But it's like, you know, how do you feel about your immediate family? You know, you still have your dad, your mom, your sister. I do. I have my dad, my mom, my sister, um, my nephew. Um, I won't really say much about my nephew because he's a kid, but like you have that emotional attachment that from familial, how do you call it, familiar, not familiar, the family ties. You have that. You're supposed to have that, like, attachment to your family because of your family, but I'll be honest with you, I don't really have that, and it's kind of a scary thing to say that I don't have that, but I don't have that attachment. I'll probably be sad if they go before I do, but I'm not gonna be like gutted like I am with the dog. And I understand that's a weird, thing to say, that the dog meant more than the people. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I've lived a very hard life emotionally. Um, I've lived a very emotionally stunted and lonely life. Like, the other day, I came in from town, and I remember I was toting some bags that I had bought from Walmart. And I forgot where I was going in the house, but I'd come in to set the bags down. My mom was coming in from another room, and she had her cell phone. And my parents have finally, in their 60s, have stopped like watching cable television. And now they usually watch stuff on their phone like the rest of us do. And she usually has earbuds in or something, so you can't really hear what she's watching or listening to. But for whatever reason, she didn't have earbuds in, and she was listening to some sort of political stuff, which I've asked her recently. I was like, that stuff's not good for you, and it's usually just propaganda. You should probably stop watching political stuff for your mental health, because that ship has sailed, especially in America. And she's like, I know, but she's still watching it anyway. But she was watching somebody talk about the new mayor of New York, who I'm to understand is a Muslim, I guess. And I guess, like, Republicans and Christians don't like that very much. Which, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not crazy about religion either. I hate religion. I really hate it when you make it your whole personality too. But she didn't have her earbuds in, and the person she was listening to was like, that gay Muslim from New York is going to do this, this, this. And I was like, wow, that's pretty hateful. So, to my understanding, my mom hates gay people, hates them, hates Muslims. My mom's very hateful in that way. She hates a lot of people. She's terrible. But as far as me personally, like, how do I put this without sounding terrible? I don't feel loved. Maybe with my friends, like I said, I got Tyler, I got Tiffany, I got Lewis, I got those three people in my corner. They've been very good to me. They've been very good friends. But outside of those three human beings, I feel more hated. Like, I feel like society generally hates me. I feel like my family generally hates me. My sister's always like got something snarky to say about me. She's like, you fuss too much, you're a fusser. And I'm like, I know. If you've watched my YouTube channel for 2 minutes, I'm a fusser. I fuss a lot. It's because people don't fucking do what they're supposed to do. But there's the nozzle I'm looking for. But no, typically I think my family hates me. My dad maybe not so much. I've not heard his views and opinions on stuff. So it may just be my mom that's batshit insane. But I'm not close with them. I'm not really close with anybody. That's why I was saying I was closer with that dog than I am like any human being. You know what I mean? I still have no idea what this purple stuff is. And it's funny too, because like usually when a family member dies, you go to the funeral, you cry. You either cry at home or in your car, or you could cry publicly, with your family, friends. You cry at the funeral, whatever. I never have. I go to all these funerals and it's like, I feel nothing for these people. I feel nothing. I know I'm supposed to. Like, I know that I'm supposed to, but I just don't. And I've joked about this before on stream too, and I've said this many times over the years, but I do have pretty bad like religious PTSD. Because when I was growing up in the 90s, it was way more prevalent in the 90s than it is like today. But like the anti-LGBTQ sentiment was very strong, especially in the South. So you had one of the things I remember is like, I remember Dr. James Dobson, I think Dobson was his name. He's founded or the Focus on the Family guy. So the way that they tried to attack like the LGBTQ in the 90s was like saying it was like a satanic anti-family movement, like, oh, they're sickos and perverts and demonic, and it's Satan working through them, and like, you're going to hell, you're a terrible person, you're perverted, you're sick, oh my God, you're the worst human that's ever lived, you're worse than the Nazis, you're worse than this and this. And the Focus on the Family thing was always advertised on the radio, and my parents were always watching something. They were always had the religious channels on TV. They always had, anytime we'd go somewhere in the car, they were listening to the Christian radio stations that were just constantly beating that into your head that the gay community was like the most heinous evil thing ever, that it was anti-family. You're hearing that all day, every day, on the radio, on the television. They're dragging you to church on Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, Wednesday evenings. You're spending so much of your childhood masking. You don't understand what ADD is, but you have it bad. You're still a little too young to really understand that you're different from everybody else, and you're not like heteronormative. You're not. You're in the 90s, so you don't have all these new terms to lean into. You're on the autistic spectrum, but you don't really know you've never heard of autism before. You don't understand why you like dinosaurs and stuff so much, and all the other kids are into like the Marvel stuff, and you don't understand why you're so drastically different. You go to school every day, you have no friends, you eat alone, you sit on the playground alone. None of your interests really line up with any of the other kids, because hyperfixations, because autism. And then you have to deal with all this like anti-LGBT religious church shit. And it fucks you up in the most fundamentally awful way. Because you're still young, you're still in early development, your brain's not fully fully developed yet. And you're trying to navigate this confusing reality where you're being told, hey, you're a monster. You're evil. And, like, you can't do that to a child and then expect them to grow up and be a well-adjusted adult. You can't Like even now, when I have the conversations with Tyler about like world travel, Tyler and Tiffany, they when they met, about 10 years ago now, when they got married, they went to Iceland and got married. They wanted a destination wedding. They went there, they got married. It was wonderful, but everybody they knew couldn't go because, it's a destination wedding. It's a big thing. But they're talking about going back for their anniversary, and Tyler invited me to go because I think they're going to take some other people and some other couples with them too, and it's going to be a thing. And we got to talking about traveling in our older years, like when we get up into our 50s and 60s, do we want to travel to this country and that country and that country? And we were looking realistically at the various places we could visit. And while I could easily visit like Japan, Europe, and Australia, and a bunch of different countries, it is he can still go to a lot of places that I can't go. Because just the sheer act of being part of the LGBTQ is a criminal offense in 72 countries at the moment. You can be executed or put in prison in 72 countries. So there are places in the world I can't even go safely. I don't know. You guys know me. You've heard me talk at nauseum at this point about these things, and you've heard me. You've heard my mental health struggles. You've heard my struggles in general. I think you guys get it. And sometimes people will say, well, why don't you like leave the house more? Why don't you go places? Why don't you go to a concert? Why don't you go to this? Why don't you go to that? Why? Why bother? Like, I want to go out into the world where most of the people hate me anyway. I don't know, man. I don't feel motivated to go anywhere and do anything much, honestly. I need my ladder. Well, see, that's the thing too. Yeah, I could just not mention it and be fine with traveling, but some countries now will actually look you up on social media. Sometimes they'll take like American tourists or Canadian tourists, and they will look at your Facebook, your Instagram, if you do anything YouTube wise. And if you don't have if you don't do YouTube or stream, like let's say you're an old person, well, older compared to me, and you don't really do the internet, as they say, you'd be fine. Yeah. I think most people's Facebook would probably still betray them, though. It's hard. But, it's like I was talking about earlier. First of all, you shouldn't have to do all that. That's bullshit. But then again, going back to the term I used earlier, look into masking. Because it's so like a lot of times gay people will mask their speech, their accent, their slur, whatever, hide certain aspects of their life or whatever. Autistic people do it too, just so they can seem quote unquote normal in social situations. I learned from a very early age that I needed to try and change a lot of my personality to fit in when I was around other people. I don't do it anymore, honestly. If I do it subconsciously without thinking about it. But where the hell is my? I have too many nozzles. But anyway, it can be exhausting. I'm going to move the ladder to here just to get it out of my way. You, big boy. I need you over there. I need it where I can't get it. Ooh, actually, you know what? Ah! Those are the people hating. Well, I mean, things are better now here in the year 2026 than they have been in the past. You're right about that. I think most people have given up giving a shit. Like, life has gotten hard for everybody. The economy's in the toilet. The country is shot to shit. Like, you're right. A lot of people don't give a shit anymore. A lot of people are just busy trying to survive. But it didn't used to be that way. Most of the people hate you. That's not true. Most people don't know you, so they can't hate you. Oh, my dear sweet summer child. That's why they hate you, because they don't know you. And like, that ain't even got nothing to do with gay people. That's just a human trait in general. That's just a fucked up human thing. Like, most people will hate out of ignorance or because the television or a politician has told them to. Like with the immigration thing in the United States, immigrants are not going to harm a goddamn thing. They are not a problem. Immigration in the United States is not going to hurt the economy. It's not going to hurt your job. It's not going to hurt a damn thing. But politicians will use it as a tactic to scare voters into voting for them. Shit, I need my little stool. Yeah, so like at this point, I've broadcast enough of myself and talked about it enough. I got my Instagram shit. You know, I got the little flag and all my profile descriptions all over the internet. At this point, it's public, like globally public information. So I just have to avoid those countries that would fuck me over. Russia's out. I didn't even bother memorizing the list because it was like so upsetting. But that's why earlier this year I was telling you guys, like, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to do right for myself. I'm trying to be kind to myself. I'm waking up days. I'm not staying up late anymore. I'm trying to eat healthy and exercise. I'm trying to take care of myself because I'm trying not to let it, get me down and be a bummer. But there's all these little spots that I missed. I'm trying. But I have really bad seasonal depression, and it's funny because for most people, seasonal depression is really rough during like Christmas and the holiday seasons. For me, it's summer. For me, like the end of July and most of August is my really bad depression time of the year, because when it gets late at night, like when it's 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and it's, getting dark, and I hear the cicadas and the katydids and everything outside, and people are settling in because they got to get up and go to work or school the next day. That is a beautiful time of the day. It's a beautiful time of the year. But for me, it reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of the day coming to an end. It reminds me of having to start to get ready for bed and wake up the next day and go to school and deal with the other kids and mask the whole time and you know it reminds me of a childhood that wasn't great, and the terrible emotions that I felt back then will come flooding back because brain chemistry is going to brain chemistry. Like you know better. Your brain's like your consciousness. You're like, well, this is stupid. This is a silly thing. I'm a grown ass adult. I can do whatever I want. But the human psyche has a way of like being a doom and gloomer. At least mine does. So, oh, I didn't even finish this. Huh. I thought that I had this whole payphone clean. Damn. But I manage, you know, I've always been able to manage to survive the depression and pull myself out of it at, you know, when it's at the worst. I've always you know, tried to watch videos and read articles, and like I've learned coping skills from other people on the internet, and you know, I survive, you know. I make it through. I'm a trooper. It's rough, but I fight it, and I put I put the effort in, you know. I put the work in. And I've always been proud of myself that I fight it and win. But this past weekend was rough. This past weekend might be the darkest time in my entire life. Like I was at rock bottom. Like I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. That first day when she the day it happened, the day that she went to the vet and didn't come home, I cried and I cried. I cried the whole time I was in the shower. Like I got in, I cried through the entire time I was washing myself. Then I just stood there under the water and cried for like 30 minutes. Oh my God. It was rough. Open 24/7. What is the name of this place? Lone Station. Is that a battery or a generator? Huh. But I had, you know, I formed an emotional bond with that dog over the years that I've been doing YouTube. I think we got her in 2019, I think. And it's you know, technically it's not my dog. It was my sister's dog. But she quickly became like the family's dog. And again, it was a lot of it was, oh, the sign's only on one side. Okay. a lot of it was her personality, you know, that kind of made her stand out from other dogs that we've had over the years. All right, I'll have to talk about it some other time. I can't talk about it right now. I'm going to get all weepy and cry on stream if I keep thinking about it and talking about it. There it goes. So we'll talk about something else. Oh, I decided as far as Pokemon Winds and Waves is concerned, I want to go in as blind as possible. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers. So, like, I told everybody in the Discord, like, you can still talk about it and stuff, but, like, I don't want to see Coral Leaks stuff. You know, I don't want to know characters, locations, Pokemon, art designs, because every generation since, like, I want to say, so at least Sword and Shield Forward. At least Sword and Shield Forward. I've known everything. I've known like half the Pokedex, character design, place, the what the place is going to look like. I've known too much before each game comes out. That might be fun if we do things a little bit differently this go around, you know? There we go. Shit, I don't know if I can reach that from here. Yeah, kinda. Fuck it. I'll just stand up here and do it. Oh shit, I didn't get the star. Should I grab the ladder for that? Can I do it from here without falling? Yeah, I can. Okay. Hit. Damn. All right, I guess I'm about to use the ladder. Oh, I can stand on the... Okay. Well, that helps. Ping, 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 ping. No, I fell. Yeah. I have the most sensitive nose. I didn't even really cry. I teared up, but I didn't cry. And it's like, no. Your eyes got watery, so you're getting all the mucus humanly possible. I didn't even cry much. Shit, I need to be able to. Wonder if I could put this out here like this. Because that would really be helpful. Kinda. No, this stupid thing is in the way. Okay. There we go. Now we're cooking. Ha ha! But yeah, like I was saying earlier, my grandmother lived to be 87 years old. She passed, last year? And I just wasn't close with her, you know? And I feel like such a human piece of shit saying this, but like, it didn't faze me in the least. Not in the least little bit. Not in the least little bit. They were very prudish. They were very like old school, Christian Republican, white American 20th century people who voted differently from me, felt differently, lived differently, thought differently, like completely alien to me. So it's like it used to be kind of a little bit of a point of contention in my family, because nobody ever sees me. Like, my grandmother, when they did see me, they're like, we never get to see you. I wonder why. And sometimes I'll feel just a smidge bad for my mom because she'll get on Facebook and post a bunch of really stupid, ignorant bullshit like anti-gay this, anti-gay that, anti-gay this, anti-gay that, and just she looks like an idiot, and she just doesn't know it. Because I think at this point it's I think she might be the last person on earth not to know. And I think that that kind of serves her right. But at the same time, I feel bad. I definitely have secondhand embarrassment for her. You sound stupid. Stop. At least I didn't have to clean the stop sign. Okay. Let's see. Bring you around now. I always place it on the wrong goddamn side. Is there even anywhere? Yep. No, the sign is not finished. I hear so many desert critters. Now, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to get in there and get that sign? Damn it. Maybe I use the step stool. But Tyler was asking me, I was talking to him last night through text and Discord before we finally called each other. But he's like, what exactly is causing the depression to be so bad right now? Like, is it an amalgamation of everything, the dog and the stuff and everything happening? I was like, yeah, kind of. It's, and I think it's hitting me. I think the last 10 years of just life, like my own personal life, the world, all the events that have been happening, the political stuff, the COVID, yeah, I think all of it has finally like hit me all at once. So, like I said, I have all that going on, plus the fact that it's that time of the year that I struggle the most with my depression, especially in the evenings. Then you take away like the most precious, innocent thing that's ever existed ever, and it's sudden too. We didn't even get a build up or nothing. Just so it's hit me all at once. And I'm struggling with my weight. I talked about this ad nauseum on my channel about how I'm struggling to take the Lexapro, deal with the Lexapro. I don't want to take it, but when I don't take it, I'm miserable. But when I take it, all I do is eat, and I feel like I'm dying with it. I can't win for losing. So everything has been really, really hard, and I'm at the most challenging point in my journey so far. And I'm here. I'm streaming. I'm still getting work done. I'm still looking after my hygiene. I'm showering every day. I'm brushing, so I'm not like bedriddenly depressed, but I want to be. I think I would be if I weren't so experienced with dealing with it. Like, I think if this were happening to me at 20 years old or maybe even 30 years old, I probably would be bedridden right now and whatnot. But because I've had decades of learning to deal with this, I think it's made it a little bit more manageable. And I just gotta, make it through to the other side. I got that trip coming up next week. I'm a little nervous for that. It'll be the furthest I've ever been away from home. When we went to the beach last year, it was the longest I've ever been away from home. A whole week. We went down to Florida, southern Alabama, and we stayed a whole week down there. But going up to Chicago is the furthest I've ever been away from home. And I always think about the Lord of the Rings, If I take one more step, it'll be the furthest I've been away from the Shire. And that's how I feel every time, I go somewhere new. That's how I'm going to feel definitely this time. But, oh, there is some dirt still up here. Yeah. But thank you guys. I do thank you guys. I don't know if other streamers can kind of get away with talking about this kind of stuff. I think most of their audience would probably pitch a fit. I feel very fortunate that I can come on and talk about what I need to talk about. I get pretty personal, but I don't care. I don't really care. I will say this: when I get depressed, though, I get destructive. I get very self-destructive. So it's not good for me to not like have people around to help. Because when I get depressed, my brain goes to why bother territory. You know what I mean? It's like very just I don't care about anything anymore territory when I get in my depressed crazy place. It's why the Discord has suffered the way the Discord has suffered over the years. I'll delete channels, re-add them back, remove this, remove that, change this, change that. It's because I'm crazy depressed and I get into my own head and I'm like, okay, this will work better. I'm going to delete this. Nobody's using it. I don't have any subscribers on YouTube. I'm a failed streamer. I'm a failed content creator. The Discord is stupid. People only post in there when they're ultra bored. People don't actually like it. Like, I'll go into like a negativity spiral when I get depressed and I start deleting shit. I'm like, well, I'm just going to delete this social media. I'm going to delete this account. I'm going to delete this, and this, and this, and this. And over the years, there have been a few things that have survived and nothing's been deleted. My YouTube channel has survived all my crazy depression episodes. My Pokemon Go account has survived all my crazy depressive episodes. Up until, we found out Niantic was the worst piece of shit. Then I deleted my Pokemon Go out of like principle. I was like, fuck you. Then I got in my crazy place recently and I was like, I miss my Pokemon Go. So I made a new account. And then I was like, I need to stick to my guns. I shouldn't have made a new account. I shouldn't be playing this like morally. So I deleted the new account. And I was like, you know what? Niantic doesn't even own this anymore. They got bought out. Let me try and justify this any way I can, just so that I can get back on my game that helps me cope with life and reality. So I made a third Pokemon Go account. And I played it for about a week or so. I started playing with Lewis again. We were doing battles and stuff. And then my dog died. And I got crazy. And I got lonely. And I got in my own head. And over the weekend, I lost the third account. I almost deleted the Discord. Like, the Discord itself has never come as close to annihilation as it did over the weekend. I was hovering over the button with my finger on the phone, and I hit delete, and it was like, you need to enter your authentication from the authentication app. And if my phone, because I have two phones at the moment, I have my new phone that has my service on it, and then I have my old phone that I play Pokemon Go on, but doesn't have service. I just lay on the couch and I spoof and I play from that. If my good phone that has the authenticator app hadn't have been over here on my desk, had it been over on the couch with me, and I had the physical energy to get up and get that phone, we wouldn't have the Discord today. you wouldn't have woken up Monday morning to the Discord server. It would have been nuked and gone. It's never been in it's never been in that much mortal danger before. But yeah, that's my mental health issues. That's how my brain works. When I get in my depressed area, I delete people off of apps. You know, I'm like, well, this person isn't my friend anymore. They don't ever talk to me. They don't do anything. I'm going to remove them from Steam. I'm going to remove them off my Switch. I'm going to remove them as a direct friend on Discord. They can only get in touch with me through the server publicly. I get into my crazy place and I start this self-destructing and I start, you know, going into that spiral. And it's bad. It's real bad. That's why I was telling you guys at the beginning of this year and last year, if you've heard me say I'm tired of being tired, like I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's kind of what I mean. Like, I've dealt with this for decades. I'm tired. I'm weathered. I don't have the will to carry on. I don't have the motivation. I don't have my youth anymore. I'm beat down, worn down, exhausted. Like I don't have people in my core. I have Tyler and Lewis and them, but I don't have a wide network of people I can talk to and rely on, because the few people I have are stressed out because I don't have anybody else. I put everything on like just one or two people, and they have their own fuck shit going on at the same time. So not only are they dealing with all the stress of their own life, here I come toting a whole barrel of baggage that I got to lay on their doorstep, which makes me feel like a piece of shit. I'm tired. And I get scared because you know what happens to people who suffer from depression. And, you know, when they reach that point, that Robin Williams point, or Chester Bennington, or any of the people, you know, we've lost, there comes a point where the only option left, the only logical option to take away the pain and the exhaustion is that thing. And every year I inch a little closer to it, and it does scare me. It scares me a lot. But one of the biggest helpful things for me has been taking these trips that I've been taking, because I'm not able to work. I'm not physically able. I'm not mentally able to work a 9 to 5. It just is what it is. I know 99% of people are going to be like, you're being a pussy, you're making excuses, you're fine, you just don't want to work, you're lazy, yada, yada, yada. I'm tired of dancing around that. It's, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But one of the bigger things that's helping me is the travel. You know, we went to Florida. We've been down to the beach twice in the past few years, and it's helping me to kind of remain focused. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's helping me to remain, you know, focused, and it's helping. It's helping a little, but Hey, we've made it over the 80% mark with this job. This job was a lot bigger than you think. This area is kind of big. There was a lot to do here. Okay. This is a little tedious, but we just got to do it. Yeah, I always hate talking about work because, and I say this to Tyler all the time, I said, I feel so fucking guilty, you know, that I don't work a 9-to-5 job. I feel guilty that I don't contribute to society in that way. Like, I don't pay taxes, I don't work. It makes me feel like a bum. It makes me feel lazy. It makes me feel worthless that I'm not working every day and contributing. And I'll admit it, like, that's where my brain goes when I hear other people like that too. You know, you get a YouTuber who's like, oh, no, I don't work. I'm just a bum. I let somebody else finance my entire existence. The first thing my brain does is go to judgment. It goes to that place of hardcore judgment of like, oh, you're kind of garbage, huh? But I think a lot of that comes from that 90s mentality, like that 20th century mentality of like human, the worth of a human life apparently is tied to your productivity. I think that a lot of people have that. I think that's something that's kind of been instilled in us in society. It's like, if you're not going to work every day and you're not paying bills and you're not part of that grind that everybody else is part of, you know, then your life has no value whatsoever. Which isn't true. You know, I think your life just has intrinsic default value, but unfortunately, because of capitalism, I think we're kind of trained from an early age to believe that productivity equals worth. And that does a pretty bad number on my mental health as well. So one of the things I do, since I don't have like a classic 9-to-5 job, is I take on as much responsibility at home as humanly possible. I cook, I clean, I do laundry, I mow the lawn, I look after the house. I'm constantly sweeping, mopping, doing this, and this. A lot of it is out of guilt, you know, of not working a classic 9-to-5 job. I'm just constantly trying to stay busy. I'm constantly trying to clean something and stay on my feet and stay active. And it does get a little harder to do when I'm in my most hardcore depressed, funk. Because here's the thing, my depression has different levels of intensity. When it comes and goes throughout the year, I might have just a little bit to I can't move, I can't function, I can't get out of the bed. Now, granted, the I can't get out of the bed ones are rare. Usually my depression is in the medium range, or, you know, medium to low range where I can still function. But right now, I am fighting against the hardcore immobility version of depression. You know what I mean? That's the one I'm fighting at the moment. Of like, just stay busy, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. I'm afraid that if I don't stay busy, that I'm going to spiral. And that's not going to be good for anybody. Okay. Then there's the other thing about depression that becomes a son of a bitch. It's the third parties having to hear about it. Like, one of the most annoying things in the world is hearing about somebody's depression. You can't come up with a more annoying thing, I think, than somebody who, like, could you imagine if I came on here every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and every stream was just depression, 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 and it's all you ever heard about? I couldn't imagine a worse personality trait. But I have been thinking about that lately. It's something that I kind of started thinking about way back in 2024. I thought, Eric, yeah, I think you talk about your depression too much. I think you talk about your personal life too much. So in 2025, I tried to get away from it. Like, I tried to stop getting so uber personal on stream. But right now, I don't have a choice. This is like what I'm going through right now. So I'm going to talk about it, you know. But I have done, I have stuck to my guns about, like, let's talk less about politics. Let's talk less about world news. Let's try and just have some fun over here. I have stuck to my guns with that. My new mission as far as my streaming is concerned, and my YouTube channel, is trying to get away from rants. That's my new thing. I want to get away from rants. And I don't mean the funny ones like I had earlier with the McDonald's bit. I mean like actual rants where I'm upset about something and I go full old man mode. I want to avoid those. And I want to try and keep it fun enough where people don't like bail. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to change nozzles now. Damn. Yeah, this isn't working. Let me see it. Change back to you. Ha ha ha. But here's the thing. Is our sign completely, like, I don't think it is. I know this little stool's in the way. What else am I missing? Dirt. The dirt is hiding from me. I'm going to find you. Ah. What else? Oh, really? There's something up top? Hang on. I didn't even need the ladder to get up here. Okay. I love this orange dot. We needed that orange dot last time. Okay. Let me hit you with the... soap. Okay. Okay, that recovers. That covers a lot of it, but not all of it. I really do not like those background noises of whatever animal that is. It's freaking me out. I don't like it. That does not sound like a coyote to me. We have coyotes here. I know what a coyote sounds like. That does not sound like a coyote. I do like it. I don't know what critter it is. I don't know. Okay, so let me break out the red one and start getting detail oriented. Right, is there any? There is a little bit of dirt left here. This table. Of course, the game's going to be a little glitchy. Oh, damn. There we go. We'll go with the orange. There we go. That's probably going to be our best bet for getting up in the tight spots. Now we have a lot of good games coming up on my channel. We have a new Pokemon next year. We have the Ocarina of Time remake. We have a ton of Steam games that I've been sitting on until we got a better computer that I now have. We have games that we're currently working on. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I just need to be in a better place mentally so that I don't fuck up everybody's good time. So I'm kind of hoping that I can recover enough, you know, in the next few weeks. Maybe I start to feel a little better. Obviously, I'm in mourning. Obviously, I lost, I know, again, a lot of people are going to say, it was just a pet. That pet meant a lot to me. But I was already depressed before my dog died, so regardless of dog, I was already not doing great. So, I need to be able to do that 3 times. But I'm hopeful, you know, I'm optimistic. Like I said, I've dealt with this all my life, so I kind of get how to navigate it. But I am looking forward to some of the stuff that I have planned for the big 9th anniversary going into year 10 on the channel. I do have some plans. I'm looking forward to that. And that's gonna come quick too. That's gonna come up quicker than you think. Because we're already halfway through August, which is blowing my freaking mind. How? How are we halfway through? August just started! How? Make it stop. Time better slow down. Years start coming and they don't stop coming. They don't stop coming and 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 they don't stop coming. Nope, wrong button. Ooh, that's a lot of dirt. There's a lot of missed dirt. Eh. Hey, I got the benches. Oh, fuck. I think we got all of this. All of this. Get off the thing. Few little spots on the building. Oh Lord, I missed the whole ass. Oh, they got it. Okay, I think that's the entirety of the building and everything around back. You know what? I think it's just this little spot. It's all stuff because we're at 95% show. Let me break out the old whatever you call this thing. And put the big one on. Actually, I think the bigger your, like the wider your reach, the less powerful the water pressure. That's how it works in real life anyway. So, we'll do the medium brush doohickey. And this should be it. Welcome back. I thought you had bailed on us. Might take a minute. Boom. Almost there. 99%. Damn. Okay, hang on. So switch back to white one. Switch over to the orange. All right. Let's find that tiny little spot that we missed. It appears to be this pole. And then superpower you have. Out of every possible power, choose it. Fly. I think that's universally humans' most desired trait. I think it's flight. I have dreams about flying. It's so bizarre too. And I don't mean like you're probably thinking. When I say I dream about flying, I don't mean, wee, look at me, I'm in the clouds flying. No, I have these weird dreams where it's like my brain's trying to figure out the physics behind being able to fly. Dragon Ball Z style. It has something to do with exerting force from your body onto the ground to propel you up. The same way a helicopter's propellers will, use air to blow themselves up off the ground and create lift. Anytime I have one of my flying dreams, I may be a couple of feet off the ground. I'm horizontal. I'm laying down like Superman, and I can feel myself like a buoy floating in water. I can feel myself in sort of like an anti-gravity state of fighting with the gravity and kind of hovering. It's the weirdest fucking feeling. I think it has something to do with the mechanic in your body that stops you from moving in your sleep. You know how it is when you hear people talking about like sleep paralysis and stuff like that. Your brain will shut down your body's ability to thrash around so you don't hurt yourself in your sleep. And I think it has something to do with that, if I had to venture a guess. But it is a very weird feeling. It's like floating in water. And I've had those dreams ever since I was a teenager. They're weird. They can be fun sometimes, but for the most part, it kind of drains you of quality sleep because it feels like it's like dreaming about trying to figure out a task. It can be a little exhausting, but I have those dreams a lot. But I think flying, yeah, would probably be. Um, while I'm not super afraid of heights like some people, heights kind of bother me a little bit. They get my stomach a little bit. I think mainly just because I'm so heavy, and I know if I fall from a high spot, I'm going to explode like a watermelon. So, because I'm fat. All right. What came after this job? Ooh. A gazebo? A mobility scooter? No, not a mobility scooter. People weren't meant to scoot. People out here just scoot. If it weren't flying, time manipulation's a really good one. Being able to freeze time or move through time freely when other people can't, that one would be good. Honestly, any X-Men power, really, being able to like go through solid material, just go through walls, being able to read minds, being able to. Ooh, no, I know what my superpower would be. I want to be able to communicate with animals. Fuck flying, fuck all the rest of them. I want to be able to talk to animals. I That is something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. I think that would be my most desired superpower. Methinks. Damn, this job took 2 hours. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for PowerWash Sim for today. I will be back. I will be doing another stream. Um, yeah, everybody, obviously you guys who are here in chat, but anybody who's watching this eventually on YouTube as well. Like I said, thank you guys so much for being understanding and letting me just kind of get it out of my system today. I'm having a really rough time, and this was very therapeutic. Being able to come on here and talk about whatever I wanted with no feelings of pressure or judgment. It's been helpful. So, thank you guys. See you, folks.